Welcome back to our journey through the fascinating world of That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime's Light Novel. Let's continue from the last part, where we left.
Guy got really mad at what Diablo did, but the tension in the room went up. Diablo stayed calm and was nice about it, saying they had to get ready for a big meeting before they could talk more. Even though he was being nice, you could tell Diablo wasn't scared of Guy at all. The surprised expressions on Luminous's and Leon's faces hinted at a possible connection between Diablo and Guy. Luminous didn't think it was a big deal that Noir stood up to Guy. She kind of expected it from him. But Leon was shocked. He couldn't believe that someone as esteemed as Noir would work for Rimuru. As Rimuru sat confused by the mention of Noir and Diablo being described as lofty, chaos ensued as Benimaru, Soai, Carrera, and Ultima rushed in, each with their own urgent news or readiness for battle. At this point, Rimuru realized he might as well have let Guy inside instead of blocking him, as he had no intention of inviting him anyway. He decided he would discuss the situation with Diablo later. Now, his priority was to restore order. Rimuru instructed everyone to calm down, including Diablo, and proposed that Guy join the summit since he was already there. Guy agreed, mentioning he had something to discuss as well. With a change of plans, Rimuru had to clear the room of everyone else. Assuring them that everything was fine and they would be notified if needed, Rimuru managed to calm everyone down, although there were some grumbles about missed opportunities for battle. The others returned to their duties while Shuna went to prepare tea. As they settled back in, Leon was the first to speak up, questioning why John was present. Luminous also chimed in, expressing uncertainty about whether the other figure was Violet. Confused by their words, Rimuru suddenly realized they were referring to Carrera and Ultima. Before he could clarify, Leon and Luminous interrupted, expressing disbelief that Rimuru had given them names. They seemed surprised that Rimuru had brought even more primals into the fold, in addition to Diablo. Leon stood up and raised his voice, while Luminous appeared visibly flustered. Both of them stared at Rimuru with intense gazes. Rimuru attempted to diffuse the tension by casually mentioning that he intended to question Guy about his intentions. Even Guy joined in with his own perplexing remarks. Unsure of how to respond, Rimuru found himself at a loss for words. Just then, Shuna entered with a tea cart, bringing a moment of tranquility as everyone paused to allow her to serve. The soothing aroma of the tea helped to calm their nerves. With a clearer mind, Rimuru began to process the conversation, focusing on the term primal mentioned by Luminous, which hinted at a significant aspect of demons. Rimuru recalled the explanation about primal demons being the first demons. Surprised, he questioned Diablo about his status as one of these primal demons, to which Diablo confirmed his leadership among the firstborn demons. Rimuru was taken aback by the magnitude of Diablo's status, realizing he had summoned a tremendously powerful entity without fully understanding its significance. Leon and Luminous looked at Rimuru with a mix of disbelief and judgment, prompting Rimuru to admit that he hadn't realized Diablo's true stature when summoning him. Rimuru was even surprised by Raphael's apparent shock at his lack of knowledge about Diablo's true identity as a primal demon. Reflecting on Elmesia's warnings about primal demons, Rimuru realized she must have been aware of Diablo's significance, which he failed to grasp at the time. Rimuru admitted that he often overlooked certain details and didn't always utilize Raphael's knowledge effectively. Despite Raphael's helpful advice, Rimuru acknowledged the importance of actively seeking information. Disregarding his surprise, Diablo began recounting his encounter with Rimuru, which traced back to Rimuru's meeting with Shizu. Diablo revealed that he and Shizu were acquainted, and he happened to be in the area when he sensed Shizu's presence in her final moments. Despite accusations from lower demons and his family, Diablo explained that he waited for the right moment before answering Rimuru's summons, which he deemed a success. With a satisfied smile, Diablo shared his tale with the audience. As Diablo continued his tale, Rimuru realized that Diablo's appearance wasn't just a coincidence, it was carefully planned. Feeling overwhelmed, Rimuru was hit with another shock when Diablo confessed his jealousy of Beretta and his attempt to purge him without Rimuru's knowledge. Beretta, however, reminded Diablo that Rimuru had crafted his body, preventing any harm. Exhausted by Diablo's lengthy narrative, Rimuru wanted someone to intervene, but Diablo kept speaking non-stop. Finally, Rimuru had to interrupt, urging Diablo to stop as they needed to resume the summit. With Guy's intervention, Diablo's incessant talking finally came to an end. Guy requested to speak with Dino, prompting Shuna to leave and fetch him. Despite Diablo's eagerness to continue, everyone ignored him, knowing that allowing him to speak further could lead to unpredictable outcomes. Meanwhile, Guy settled into a chair, appreciating the gesture of hospitality from Leon's attendants. Arlos and Claude, standing behind Leon, nodded appreciatively. Their familiarity with Guy seemed evident, as they acted without hesitation. Rimuru acknowledged their assistance, recognizing the potential for inadvertently offending Guy. He expressed gratitude to the knights for their understanding and offered them the task of managing the situation. Rimuru contrasted their considerate behavior with Diablo's and Cheyonne's, hoping for a similar level of consideration from them. Diablo chuckled nervously, perhaps trying to shift blame onto Guy's unexpected appearance, though it seemed like an unfortunate turn of events for him. Cheyonne, always obedient, acknowledged Rimuru's instruction, showing her usual compliance. Meanwhile, Guy resumed his pompous demeanor as he took his seat. Shuna returned with Dino, and unexpectedly, Ramirez also joined, signaling the continuation of the summit. Guy was upset with Dino because he didn't stop the primal demons from getting names, which made things worse. Rimuru felt bad, wishing he had known it was dangerous to name them. Guy made it clear that their mission was very important and they needed to know more before acting. Rimuru saw that Guy was also having a hard time with this. Even though Rimuru thought Dino might be a spy, he didn't say anything. He didn't want to make Guy even angrier by defending himself. Veldora intervened to defend Rimuru, drawing Guy's attention away momentarily. However, Luminous's reprimand silenced Veldora, revealing his inability to handle criticism. Despite this, Veldora's action shifted some of Guy's focus away from Rimuru. Sensing an opportunity, Rimuru redirected the blame towards Dino and Guy, suggesting that Guy, as the supervisor, shared responsibility for Dino's failure to prevent the naming of the primal demons. By spreading the accountability, Rimuru aimed to avoid shouldering all the blame himself. Dino quickly caught on to Rimuru's strategy and joined in, shifting blame away from himself and towards Guy. Frustrated, Guy seemed unable to counter their arguments. Dino explained his surprise at Rimuru bringing over the primal demons, emphasizing the unexpectedness of the situation and his inability to intervene. He was also surprised that Testarossa would work for anyone, which was not normal. Guy agreed that the whole thing was pretty unusual. Rimuru attempted to deflect blame from Dino and onto Diablo, emphasizing that Diablo had assured him of the primal demon's usefulness. Rimuru maintained that he had trusted Diablo's judgment and believed the primals were under his control. By shifting responsibility onto Diablo, Rimuru hoped to appease Guy's anger and protect himself from further scrutiny. Diablo accepted the blame willingly, expressing determination to live up to Rimuru's trust. Guy's initial silence gave way to a tired acknowledgement of Diablo's involvement. However, he redirected his focus onto Rimuru, questioning his actions. Feeling the pressure mounting, Rimuru attempted to maintain composure by letting Raphael take control. Despite his inner panic, Rimuru projected a calm exterior, ready to confront Guy's accusations head-on. Guy launched into an angry lecture, blaming Rimuru for causing the collapse of the world's balance and the failure of Maiziri's mission. Despite giving control to Raphael, Rimuru found it challenging to counter Guy's accusations. Unable to understand how he was at fault for events he wasn't aware of, Rimuru simply nodded in acquiescence, choosing not to argue further with Guy. Guy admitted that he sometimes caused big troubles on purpose. He did this to make people work together against Guy, so they wouldn't fight each other. While Granville was in charge, Guy didn't do much. But when Granville hurt Luminous, Guy decided it was time to do something. He told Maiziri to plan something really scary for all people, like getting rid of the big leaders. This would show how strong a demon lord can be. Guy thought this scary plan would actually make the leaders come together without fighting. Guy expressed concern about the potential chaos and power struggles among the Western nations following Maiziri's failed plan to terrorize them, because Testarosas intervened. He emphasized the risk of the Eastern Empire taking advantage of this situation. Surprisingly, Guy seemed focused on preventing the disintegration of the Western nations, perhaps motivated by his role as an arbitrator tasked with averting disasters. While not a friend to humanity, Guy's actions aimed to maintain order, even if they involved violence. Rimuru found himself unexpectedly grasping Guy's intentions, despite their differences. As Rimuru contemplated how to respond to Guy's question about his plans for the Western nations, Diablo intervened, asserting that Rimuru aimed to realize his ideals. Rimuru hoped Diablo's confident demeanor would impress Guy, but Diablo's arguments centered on lofty ideals Rimuru had already dismissed. Diablo argued against terrorizing people, emphasizing the transient nature of fear and its potential to breed hatred and revenge. Instead, he proposed redistributing wealth to rebuild relationships among nations and foster fairness, thereby creating new economic principles.
That's it for today, guys, and thanks for watching the video. Stay tuned for next chapter. Until then, goodbye.